Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Arsenal Fan Circle. This is our Sunday show with myself, Raymond Walker, and my co-host, Mahir Abrams from Gundit News. How are you doing? How are you doing, Gundit? Very good. So what did you? Starting out this episode, we want to get into a kind of a somber note. This is the 18th anniversary of David Rocastle's untimely death. We lost him at the age of 33, and some of us will be old enough to remember him. Hi, Noe Donis. Thanks for coming in. We are going to start off the show with talking about David Rocastle. Rocky Rocastle. Gundit News. What do you know about David Rocastle? Let me start with that.
I was unfortunate not to be a tiny little seedling before I could see our absolute legends, Rocky Newcastle play. And it's very unlucky, but from what I know, he was a true gentleman and a true legend of our club who gave absolutely everything for the badge.
Yeah, he did give absolutely everything for the badge. I was old. I just started supporting Arsenal, and David Rocastle was one of the players that inspired me to follow the Arsenal, the best team in the world. We love our Arsenal here. No, he said, "Rest in peace, gone but never forgotten." And true. He was a player. He was an English international, but he was a player who would have gotten into the Brazilian team at the time. I always remember. Go ahead. I always remember that goal he did score against Manchester United when Peter Schmeichel was first brought to Manchester United. He beat the likes of Paul Ince and Brian Robson and I think Neil Webb in midfield and chipped Schmeichel from 30 yards. That was just part of his game. It was an amazing goal.
Never to be seen again. And those some people are actually lucky enough to have been right there to see it live, or even though they were to see goal that will never be reproduced on that scale ever again.
And Noe, we're just checking the audio with Gundit News. My co-host Mahir, can you just confirm if the audio is coming through for you on your phone, Noe, so we can move on with the rest of the show? We've had audio problems last week as well, but I think everything's going well. David Rocastle, we lost him at the age of 33 to cancer, and it was a big shock to the world. Big shock to the Arsenal world. And he was a player that was very, very skillful, Gundit. Very, very skillful player. He wore the number 7 with distinction. And Noe, thank you. We can hear you perfectly, Gundit News. But yeah, today's the 18th anniversary of David Rocastle's early death. He passed away way too early at the age of 33 to cancer, way too early. I remember when 18 years ago the players heard about it, all of us heard about it, and we were actually playing Tottenham that day. And quite aptly, Robert Perez wore the number 7 with distinction, and he scored against Tottenham that day along with Henry. So,
what a way to tribute your good friend and the fellow owner who played.
and I know Ian Wright was always his best mate, and David Rocastle was always big up in Ian Wright. So Ian Wright has a lot to thank David Rocastle for his career, and they only did play together for one season, Gundit and Noe. But just as a mark of respect, we wanted to start the show together, talking about David Rocastle. So let's just have a moment's silence for David Rocastle. Okay, with that being said, thanks for coming in for the rest of the show. We are talking about, we're probably later on in the show, Gundit, we're going to talk about the Newcastle game. But I wanted to go through the signings. We wanted to talk about the signings that we had brought in last summer and how well did they have adapted to the new setup in the team, and how well the coach has actually adapted. Because we forget that Unai Emery was one of our first signings as well. So, what do you think about Unai Emery starting off, Gundit?
From Noe and London Old School and everybody in the comments, whether they're watching this live or they are catching up on the podcast, which we much appreciate. But Emery, I absolutely love the guy. I mean, I'm wanting to give him as much time as needed for him to build his own squad with his own players, which hopefully they will back him up now in the next transfer window. And yeah, like what can I say? He's brought a sense of class and a sense of pride and passion back into everybody who wasn't performing even last season, such as the likes of Iwobi, Granit Xhaka. Last season, we would say, sell these people, sell them, and get in replacements. Now, you could possibly see a future of having a young midfield mixed with experience, or, I mean, even the tactical changes he's made for the past how long?
Yeah, I mean, and Noe has said, who else is watching the Botlico Liverpool versus Spuds? We left it at 1-1 before we started to get set up here, Noe. So if you can update us with the score, that would be much appreciated. I'm not watching them right now, but we will take a draw. What do you think on that news? A draw is not a bad result. Well, we do know you have a vested interest in this thing happening, you know? Yeah, I'll take a draw. No, but seriously, I would still like Liverpool to win that game. Um, you know, we want to knock those Spuds down to sixth place if possible. And Chelsea got out of jail a little bit earlier as well. And it's still 1-1. No, no, I didn't.
Unfortunately, I was a bit tired, so I fell asleep, and then I woke up just as who was the team that Chelsea were playing?
They were playing Cardiff City.
Cardiff City, and they just scored the first goal, and I was like, just hold on to this, and they held out until so late. Yeah. And Raymond and everybody else watching, please go and see that new that Chelsea goal and how offside the goal was.
Yeah, I'll check out that. I'll check that Chelsea goal out later. I'm not really not worried about Chelsea. If they're struggling to beat Cardiff until the 91st minute, I don't think they're going to impact or interrupt our search for a top four spot. I don't think that's going to happen. Chelsea are pretty much, they're not playing very well. Noe has said it's 1-1 between Liverpool and Tottenham into the 85th minute. Hey Noe, thanks for coming on. Really hope London Old School can catch up to us as well. A couple of our regulars, But moving on to talk about Emery. he has certainly he's not gotten everything correct. I mean, we can talk about the Rennes game, the first leg, and other league games which have not panned out the way he wanted. But I'm going to say the vast majority of tactical changes that Emery has made a big improvement to the games that we were playing and a big improvement to the amount of points that we have gathered to this point of the season. Um, he came into a difficult situation. And let's remember as well, we all know the kind of bad situation the club was in and still is in terms of some of the playing staff, which we can talk about a little bit later as well, who we might want to pitch at the end of the season to say in the nicest possible way. But to follow a coach like Arsene Wenger, who had done very, very great things for probably 12 or 14 of those years, of those 22 years. Yeah. And then he sort of lost his way in the last couple of years, and the club structure was not there to help him. So basically, he was doing the work of probably 4 or 5 different people. Would you agree with that? Arsene Wenger was like doing a lot of administration stuff.
Somebody like we didn't have the likes of the Spinellis and the Muslim cats and then to be doing so. He would have to go and scout. He's looking for players. He's writing. He's negotiating. I mean, and managing the team and managing the coaching staff who are managing the team's fitness and doing all the trainings. Like doing training exercises, not with them as per se, but showing them how to keep fit.
Yeah, so
5 jobs.
He did 5. He did. He did 5 jobs, which probably points to the fact that he waited right to the end of transfer windows to get the business done. He was so busy doing the other 4 jobs.
Yeah, he was so bloody.
I'm so tired. I'm not working. I'm not working for the first 3 weeks of January.
Kim Kallströms of the world, you understand?
Yeah, but I think he was probably very cheap as well toward the end of his tenure. But Unai Emery, in essence, he came into a difficult job in terms of the amount of restructuring the club needs to be doing in terms of the playing staff. He's trying to implement a new playing style, which we can talk about, and which I feel he's been very pragmatic in trying to get the results rather than performances right now. Before you take those points and take them, Gundit, just say that Noe is a little upset that Cardiff blew a 1-0 lead with 5 minutes to go.
Yes, as we were saying. I mean, even I was angry. I was like thinking to myself, if you actually see the goal, you're going to be like, how on earth the linesman and they didn't pick up that decision because it was like 2 miles offside, and it was given. And after that, immediately Cardiff slipped up again 2 minutes later, and Chelsea made it 2-1. And guess what? That's 3 points for them. Now they seem to have jumped back with 60 points.
Yeah, I think they're on.
For the Champions League.
We're still. Oh, it's 2-1 to Liverpool. Thank you, Noe. 2-1 to Liverpool. And if you're coming into the channel and you want to drop any more questions, I think there's another person in there. Say hello.
Please
feel free. Say hello. Ask us a question. We're talking about Unai Emery and how well he's done this season. So take it from there, Gundit, in terms of changing the playing staff and changing the style of play. Maybe okay with me trying to play out through the getting the team to play out through the back from the goalkeeper and trying to get the ball all the way through to Lacazette. Although there were some beautiful team goals that have been scored,
I think he's one of those pragmatic coaches, like you said, who prefers a result over a performance. It can be an ugly performance, but as long as the 3 points are there by any means necessary, that's actually all that does matter. And I would rate him. I would probably rate him right now towards the end of the season 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I would probably go as far as 7, maybe 7.5 out of 10 if we can do half points. But no, he's just told us an own goal by Alderweireld has given Liverpool the lead. Your ice has just gotten a little bit warmer. Yeah, I think Emery has been pragmatic in the way that he's identified we don't have the players that can play out from the back, and we'll touch on the goalkeeper next as well. When we talk about the 5 players that we brought in this year, and we're going to go through those players from the goalkeeper outfield, if you know what I mean. We'll take it that way, you know what I mean. So he's been pragmatic. Obviously, Cech was terrible in trying to play the ball out. You saw that in the earlier part of the season against Manchester City. He almost scored an own goal himself. Cech was really bad playing out from the back. And when we had to go with Cech at the start of the season, and when he got injured, Bernd Leno got his opportunity to play. But we tried to play out from the back, but I don't think we've been very good at doing that until we get better players. Like, we have to get players out of the equation, like a Mustafi or a Lichtsteiner, who are really not good at playing out from the back. But to finish the point on Emery, and if you have any more points, Mahir, jump in as well. But I do think that Emery has done a good job with his substitutions throughout the year. I think he's managed certain situations better than others, and it's debatable how people perceive he's handled the Ozil matter.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to persuade an Ozil supporter that Emery has handled that situation correctly. So that's a very polarizing issue, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
You're with the Ozil situation, either one way or the other. So we can't really. You can touch on that point without going too far, because we'll probably alienate half of the base, as it were.
I'll touch on it.
Yeah, go.
I'll touch on it very slightly. So basically, I was even watching Pinakuna, pretty well known, Lee Gunner, and Lee was actually saying he doesn't understand the hype behind Ozil. And matter of fact, it's opened up a lot of our eyes. Like, you either Ozil in or Ozil out. You either agree with what's been happening with Emery, or if you don't agree. But since he's come for Real Madrid, has he really showed up, like, in the pre-games? Not talking about games versus smaller teams where there just would be 2-3 assists or 2 assists and a goal and a man of the match performance, which is at that time it's a flash of brilliance, because it's just one game. And then Ozil goes missing for the next 4. And then he has another game where there's a lot of assists and goals galore and another man of the match performance. And again, missing again for a long period. And we've had too many of these in all the seasons that he's been with Arsenal, since he's moved from Real Madrid, basically. And I love the thing that Lee also said was, why would Real Madrid sell a world-class 24-year-old?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's literally touching on it very slightly.
And unless they knew he wasn't willing to do the things that Real Madrid wanted him to do, and the coach at the time, which I believe was Ancelotti, and so he got moved on, and he came to Arsenal. And he did, like it or not, he did find a coach that would indulge him then, in Arsene Wenger.
Mm-hmm.
But Emery, I was very impressed with Emery, especially with his grasp of the English language through the season. Starting off on the first press conference, it was very, very difficult to understand him. His English was not great at the time, but we did understand the few words that he said, and these words he said were that he would have the team working hard, which was really all Arsenal supporters wanted to hear that because of certain games that we played at Crystal Palace where the fans had shouted, "You're not fit to wear the shirt," you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Emery came
But
with, yeah, go ahead.
I love the way he's changed the mentality of players. That's how it's improved. Gotten that love back. Like, come on, guys, we push through this all together. I mean, Socrates, we're going to touch on Socrates, but how much passion does Socrates show every time he goes in for a tackle and wins the ball?
Yeah.
When he clears the ball. It's almost to say to the team, guys, we got this. We literally have this. We've got it in us to be challenging. I hope very soon, like once Emery's built these 2-3 players in vital positions, that we can actually get somewhere big,
Yeah, I mean he has brought a new mentality to the team, a new sense of durability. Let's say, that if things go wrong, that you can turn it around because he's demonstrated it through the season. And we went through a big patch in the season, the first half of the season, where we all wondered as fans if we were ever going to score goals in the first half. And but we always had faith because the substitutions that he would make, even at halftime or on 60 minutes, and not wait to 73 minutes like Wenger used to do. We all knew that we could see that those changes were for the better in the most for the most part were for the better, and we were getting wins. We were getting wins late. And Noe has told us Liverpool have won 2-1, so that's good for us. Certainly, as Arsenal fans, we want Tottenham to. And you know what's going to happen on Monday if we win? We go past Tottenham for you know first
up into third place, which is crazy if you actually
up into third place, which we have been close to Tottenham throughout the season. But lately, in December and January, they stretched to about 10 points. Well, that's pretty much going to be eliminated now if we can get a win on Monday. And we can't take these things lightly. Monday will be a tough game, which we will talk about in a little while. So. So that's Emery. I think he has done a very good job. We'll call him our first signing of the season. He's done a really great job coming in, changing the mentality and changing the work ethic. Right, Gundit?
Almost. I love the guy. I've adored him in this past few months that he's been able to even work with such shambolic defense. Can you imagine when we actually get in the players that we need? I just can't wait.
Yeah. And the other thing that he has done is, change the mentality of the players. So they believe now. They believe that they can get the results. They believe in the coach, and they believe that they're going places. And Noe has said that when we beat Newcastle, we'll be in third place, and he's highly confident that we will beat Newcastle.
Oh, me too, but we can't take it for granted though. Like, I hope they have a performance. I mean, we've seen all the results now, and we've gotten all the results in our hand. So now it's basically up to us. Now it's literally up to us.
Yeah. There's a point that's on the tip of my tongue, but I keep forgetting it. Yes, here it is. In terms of Emery, I'm quite happy that he's flying under the radar. Like, people will complain that he's not getting the same props that Pochettino is getting with the media. But we all know that Emery is better than Pochettino at this point. But we don't need to highlight this so that other teams will come circling for Unai Emery. And also, he had a point to prove coming from PSG. Do you want to talk about that for a second, Gundit, before we leave Unai Emery?
Yeah, I mean, we can go through big names that Emery was having a problem with. He was having a problem with the likes of Neymar. We saw the whole Rennes situation was being offer, basically wanting to take revenge on Emery, freezing him out because he just wasn't. He had an attitude about him, and that's what Emery said. I'm not going to deal with your attitude. Get out of this club because you're going to create more problems. And I mean, even the likes of Neymar, the Cavani's of the world, basically Emery handled as best as he could. And when he saw that it was not working out, he left and he came to the Arsenal, and which I'm so happy for. Despite people saying Emery out already, deluded people, absolutely deluded. And let us rather underrate him and give Pochettino, they can say, Pochettino's, he's the best, he hasn't won any trophies, hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, he's absolute shit. So, mind my language, guys.
No, it's completely fine. No, he said he would give Emery an 8 out of 10, and I would push myself a little bit towards an 8 out of 10 as we count down as these last vital 8 games of the season in terms of the league. Europa League is something we can take on as well as obviously it's a separate competition, but we would like to go far in the Europa League as well. But let's move on. And with all of that being said about Emery, all of that being true, he did have big personalities to deal with. He has something to prove. He had that monkey on his back, and I think he's done quite well this season in terms of that. There is a danger of us being like Pochettino or him being like Pochettino in the next couple of seasons, but we're not there yet. This is the first year of Emery, and you put your call on hold. So this is the first season of Emery. You're back on. Okay, so let's move on now to the playing staff that we have replenished from last summer, and with Peter Cech retiring this year, and it's my personal opinion that we should go with our strongest team in the Europa League. But with Peter Cech retiring, I personally see Bernd Leno as the goalkeeper that can become number one at Arsenal throughout next season. So, Gundit News, do you want to go first about Bernd Leno?
Okay, Bernd Leno. He's been outstanding for what he's been for the time that he's been at our club. We got him for an absolute steal, and I mean, he's a quality goalkeeper. There's a few aspects of his game that he does need to improve on, but as far as I'm concerned, I would also probably rate him at about 7.5 to 8. As he's been that piece that is going to complete our puzzle in the long run, and right now in the short term. Yes, he will be our first choice. Currently, he is our first choice. I have said that Petr Cech, unfortunately, has been finished a long time, and maybe we could go out there and get a backup keeper, somebody like a Jordan Pickford or Ben Foster, or like I said, we do need a second choice because Macy's not up to scratch yet, and Ospina will be staying at Napoli.
A final point with Noah, he said Unai Emery is a great coach, and it's because PSG had a lot of players with egos and attitude problems, And then Noah, we're talking about Bernd Leno. Bernd Leno, Noah said Bernd Leno was a bargain in transfer market for a top quality player. For 26 million, he's outperforming some of the higher price transfer goalkeepers we have in the Premier League, such as a Kepa.
Kepa, waste of time, waste of money, if you ask me.
The former manager of Chelsea, Kepa. He was manager for that cup final. You know that, right? the quickest sacking in Premier League history. It lasted one game. Well, it was you know. Unfortunately, they didn't win the cup. So his record is one loss. But getting back to Bernd Leno, he has progressed very well as a goalkeeper. You know what I find very striking is we have not. He's one of Bernd Leno's weaknesses. I think we can all agree is command of his penalty box and coming for crosses. I don't think he's so good at that. But we have not conceded. A bit rash in those kinds of decisions, and we'll get into that. My personal theory is he was rash in the Southampton game because he was dealing with defenders ahead of him, one of which who had just come back from a long layoff, and we've since seen what Koscielny can do or has done for the club. And once he has that solid base in front of him, i.e., two decent defenders like Koscielny and Socrates, um, he can play very, very well, and he's come up with some outstanding saves. I was listening to a program during the week, I think it was on Arseblog, where the statistics said that he is outperforming at home. Bernd Leno is playing at a very, very high level in home games, but a little bit of a worry is that away from home, he's not performed very well in one-on-one situations. So what do you think about that, Maher? Away from home, Bernd Leno, he has not performed as well.
Not as well as home performances, because as you do know in general, our home performances as a team have been pretty fantastic. Because we've drawn to Liverpool and we lost to only Manchester City.
Yeah.
And all the other games we've gone. Could you say unbeaten?
Unbeaten, and we won. I think 60. We have 60 points, and that we've gained like 41 points. So we have won 13 and drawn 2 of our home games. And the other draw was against Wolverhampton Wanderers, which we'll talk about that pretty soon as well. What I've been saying in some of my videos is watch out for these teams that we're going to come up against, and maybe there's not so much to worry about because they have their minds on the FA Cup. Like look what happened to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Burnley beat them, and so Burnley's going to be a dangerous team. Leicester look to be a pretty dangerous team, so maybe Wolves and Watford will not be the dangers that we thought about. So Noe had said Kepa the manager. Bernd Leno came in and got his chance, and he's very good at distributing the ball. He can play the ball out from the back. He's a pretty good shot stopper, and I think he's done very, very well this season. I think he has been an excellent buy for Arsenal last year.
Absolute steal.
Yeah. Where I don't even want to think about what his value could be now. He could be between 40 and 50 million now. Yeah.
At the time when we bought Guendouzi and Torreira, what did we buy Torreira and Guendouzi for? I think it was combined about 30 or 30. Their value currently at this moment in time, I can tell you, has tripled. So the two of them combined would cost any other club in the market value, if we're selling them, 90 to 110 million. Yeah.
That's astonishing. Do you want to move on next to the right back situation or the center back? All right, let's talk about Socrates, however you say his name. He has done really, really well this season. I have to admit I did not know much about him before the season started. But like you said, he's pushed himself into a captain's role, fist pumping every time he clears a dangerous ball, something near the box that's going to interfere with Bernd Leno. We have not conceded any goals from corners or set pieces. That's astonishing.
That's astonishing. That is astonishing.
Given our defense, I mean, we must just like let players through on one-on-one situations because we have not had any goals get against us through set pieces, corners, or free kicks, which is astonishing. Hi, London Old School. London Old School's here. So London Old School, we were briefly we talked. I'll just bring you up to speed because you are one of our team, one of our regulars. We love you here, and we had a moment's silence for
Absolutely.
Rocky Rocastle earlier at the start of the show. If you want to watch it on playback, you're very welcome to. Well, those of us who are old enough to know Rocky Rocastle, we know he's an English-born player, but he was almost like he played like a Brazilian player. He was that skillful, you know. Then we moved on to talking about basically our signings from last summer. So we talked about Emery and we talked about Bernd Leno. And now we're moving on to Socrates. So London Old School says, evening all. The scum bottled it again. We're going to have to watch the goals back a little bit later. I understand Gundit News tells me also Chelsea were quite lucky as well, but I am not concerned about Chelsea. London Old School says, hi, Mahir, Ray, and Noe. Thanks for joining us, London Old School. We always appreciate you. In the comments section, let me know what you think about Socrates. I think we can go another season with him. He's proved to be a very decent defender, and maybe he's going to get a little bit better as well. What do you think, Mahir?
You know what? I love this guy. An absolute warrior. If you guys game, I'm sure you guys know of this Greek Spartan called Kratos. Now, every time I look at from God of War, if you guys are not familiar with God of War, but Socrates reminds me of Kratos. He's like a no-nonsense warrior. He's just, doesn't take, and like, he's got so much passion. He's got so much passion playing for Arsenal. To be honest with you, Ray, and all the viewers, I've probably been supporting Dortmund also for a few years, a little bit back. I think it was 2007, 2008 when they managed to get to a Champions League final with Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So I've known about Socrates since a while back, and say he's a definite quality defender. And right now, I mean, he's a gem, an absolute gem for us. They should give him the captain's arm badge for next season, and they need to find him a quality partner, whether that be young or of experience. I've got a few names if you guys want me to mention names.
Yeah, throw a few names out there.
Okay, we've been linked to the likes of Tagliafico from Ajax. We've been linked to David Alaba from Bayern Munich.
Mm-hmm.
They just bought somebody from Atletico Madrid. If you guys, I'm sure, do know him. Hernandez.
Yeah.
Lucas Hernandez.
Yeah.
And Alaba said he's been a fan of Arsenal since he was a kid. So that wouldn't be a bad shout. And
no.
Who's the other one I'm thinking of?
Titi.
Basically, Titi. And I mean, even Costas Manolis, like we've discussed before. And yeah, that's quite a few names that I've thrown at you guys. Let me know what you think. Yeah,
so to recap, that's the third really, really good signing that we have had last year. Obviously, the coach has done quite well. Nobody could argue that. The coach plus the goalkeeper plus the centre back, Socrates. Noe Donis, legend has it that Socrates is still writing his last name in his contract. Yeah, if you're buying a shirt, and I think you have to pay for every letter on your shirt, that's the most expensive shirt you're going to see. Just call it Sock. S-O-K. Pastastopoulos. Yeah, it's a tongue twister. Have a beer or two, and then say that 3 times. But London Old School. Socrates has been a legend, has been a rock this season. Socrates
He's a
has been a
beast.
rock
He's
this
a
season.
beast.
Yeah, he is
He's
a
a
beast.
beast.
Um, I think we can compliment him with one defender. And let's not forget Rob Holding can come back as well. I think Rob Holding was pulling up sticks before he left, you know. All right, so
I would love that partnership actually.
London Old School has a question for you, Gundit, because
Okay.
you're better at world football than I am. I'm just the pretty face in front of the camera here. Um, okay, London Old School. What do you guys think of the young Brazilian kid Martinelli? Arsenal have apparently signed.
I don't know if it is concrete yet, because as we do know, rumors are flying left, right, and center, especially for our defense, which we do urgently need. But Martinelli isn't quite not a bad shot at all, because if I'm not mistaken, he's very young. He's Brazilian, and we've had a few decent or way above average Brazilian players play for Arsenal before. The likes of Eduardo, for example.
Yeah, Eduardo and Danielson, but we've kind of been 50-50. It's kind of been with success of 50-50 in terms of the South American market. Um,
Exactly.
I
Um,
have I
and
heard
with
of the
that, I'm not
signing.
quite too sure. I'm not quite too sure that being exactly what we need right now, because we need top quality. You know,
Yeah,
it's all very well to bring in a youngster and have him come with a lot of hype, but that also comes with a lot of pressure, and
Russia.
sometimes that pressure makes the player crack. You understand?
Yeah, and I think in talking about the whole squad, and we're all hoping, we all have faith that we're going to be in the Champions League next year. We need to pad our squad out quite well with established talent and decent players. And I think some of the loan players can come back and help us as well.
Oh yeah, the likes of Nelson, I think Willett, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
one of the Willett brothers.
And Emil Smith Rowe also.
Emil Smith was playing at
Yeah.
RB Leipzig.
So
Yeah, man.
let's get Champions League football secured, and let's have a good transfer window, which we're talking about the players that came in last year, and we've all been very impressed with those players. And we've been impressed so far with Bern Leno and Socrates, two players that I think can stay in the team next season and be a main part of the team. Now let's move on to somebody who may not be part of the team, although he's fishing around for an extra year. Stefan Lichtsteiner.
As soon as you said fishing around for one more year, I knew exactly who you were speaking about. I'm sure we all did.
And we are the club who like to give. We like to put players on nice contracts that don't play too much. Um, you know. Um,
You do know that was a very temporary stopgap for our defense.
yeah.
Because we
Before
did bring a little bit of leadership.
before he gets started, I'll just put a London Old School comment. 5 million could be a bargain. He's just waiting on his visa. Emery has good eye for young players like Guendouzi. Of course, we have to trust what the coach can do. So I think for 5 million, let's do it. I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I wasn't quite too sure on checking up on the valuation of it, but 5 million sounds great. Thanks for that info. Was it Noe that sent us that info?
London.
London Old School. Thanks,
London.
London Old School.
Now,
Much appreciated.
no, he did say Stefan is finished. He needs to go, in his opinion.
Yeah, true. I also think so.
True. I mean,
He's
if you bring in
I'm
five,
sure there's probably better options.
if you bring in 5 players last season and only one of them has been a bit of a dud, I still think that's a real success. But I do think
Yeah, of course.
Lichtsteiner has been a dud, and he might have brought something. I think he did bring something to the dressing room and to the training grounds, but he has not helped us too much on the field.
Yeah, a little bit too many it is. We're going to discuss it just now also, but I mean, players that would also go with like the likes of Lichtsteiner would be, I would probably say Mustafi, or making way too many idiots that have led to goals.
Yeah.
Probably the most in the Premier League, and it's cost us. It's cost us where we needed points.
Let's look at our defenders and talk about who should go then. Lichtsteiner should go and Mustafi should go. Yes. I would keep everyone else. Maybe if you're being very harsh, you could let Koscielny go as well. Maybe give him a free. Yeah. No, but also Koscielny could stay in the capacity where there's going to be many games, and he could stay for cup campaigns like the League Cup or the FA Cup. We're going to need probably maybe we give him one more year, but know that he's not going to play in the first team very much. With Koscielny, I think he's earned that with the coach. I think to come back from that injury and perform the way he did, starting with that Chelsea game, which was a mammoth for him, all the way through to Manchester United recently. You can't fault the guy. But Noe, London Old School agrees with Noe. Lichtsteiner is past it. I think we would need to show him the door. Noe said we should try to sign Calabria, right back from AC Milan. That's a good.
Like that shot. I like that a lot.
That's a good shout.
Great one.
And London Old School says Mustafi has to go. Koscielny does have another season in him. So in the back line, we could get rid of Lichtsteiner and try to move on Mustafi.
That would just mean that we need another left back and
a right back and a centre back. Yeah. Now Bellerin, people complain about Bellerin, but when he's not in the team, you see how much work he does.
We actually miss him right now. Really miss him.
We do miss him very much. We can get by in the league, but if we would like to win the Europa League, I would love to have Bellerin still at right back for the Europa League. No, he said Mustafi is an accident waiting to happen. Just like Lichtsteiner, two of them can link arms as they leave the doors. They let the doors hit them on the ass on the way out. Mustafi is one of those players that has he's part of the old regime, the mistakes of the old regime.
Yeah.
We went down and got Mustafi for 35 million. Very close to, I think we had started the season. We were 2 games into the season when we went and got Mustafi for somebody was able to find a team to flog Mustafi to for 35 million, and they must have been laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh yeah, they must have been laughing, like seriously.
Seriously. Yeah, so let's try and ship out Mustafi and Lichtsteiner. I'm sorry, but coming from Italian football to the English Premier League at the age he is not good enough. Let's push in the midfield now, Gundit. Noe in London Old School. You want to kick off about Torreira?
What can I say about this guy? Missing piece of the puzzle. Missing piece of that midfield puzzle.
Yeah.
It's like having Socrates in the midfield, but more athletic.
A quiet Socrates. Less fist pumping.
Loves to take control of a situation. It's like when he comes onto the field, it's like almost letting the other midfielders know I don't care if this is your home, if we're playing away, and if we're playing at home, this is my home. You're not going to get past the middle of the park with me here. Maybe if they substitute me off and put on somebody of less quality, but right now you are not getting past me when I am on this pitch.
Welcome into Arsenal Fan Circle. We have a 4th person. Just say hi in the comments so we can say hello back. or just stick around and watch. It's all good. We are talking about the signings from last season. We're talking about Torreira. And Gundit News has just had his say. Torreira was, for me, he was player of the year up until December. Torreira was the man up until December. Uh, he was anticipating things. He was breaking play up in midfield and starting the ball going into our strikers, and we were getting goals based off of his interruptions and breaking up the play. So for me, Torreira was up until probably December was the player of the year, and I was ready to crown him player of the year. But since then, I think he's felt the pace of the Premier League get to him a little bit. Nothing wrong with that, because when players come from the continent and they don't have a Christmas break as well, they really feel it. And I think that Emery has noticed this and taken him out of the lineup a little bit and used Ramsey instead. But Torreira, for me, one of the moments of the season was Torreira scoring that goal against the Scum at the Emirates for 4-2. What do you think?
I think it brought, if I'm not mistaken, it brought up most of us to tears. It was simply amazing.
Yeah, because I think at that point in that game, we knew the game was won. We knew that Tottenham were gloating about the power shift, the so-called power shift. And we knew with this result that things were going to change. I think we were all pretty confident that we were on our way back. Tottenham had caught us with a manager who was on his way out the last 2 years, and we were out of the top four the last 2 years, and they had been in the top four. And we knew at that point the North London derby at home with Torreira scoring that goal. Eric Dyer, fuck you. Excuse my language. You're doing this thing. You're doing this. Yeah, but London Old School said Torreira, small in stature, but is tenacious in the midfield. He's gone off the boil a little bit, but he was a great signing. And Noe Donna says Torreira is a gem. And then London Old School said best game of the season so far, followed by the Man United victory. Yeah, if we were to look back, and we will do a show, I think London Old School. We'll do a show when the last ball is kicked in this season. We'll do a show about our top five. How about top 5 games of the season? And I think we'll all have pretty much the same 5 games to talk about. But Torreira is a baller. He came from Sampdoria. He's how does that song go? He's only 5 foot tall.
Oh, Torreira. Oh, he's only 5'5". He comes from Uruguay. Torreira.
Oh, Torreira. Oh. So anyway, but people are going to drop out if we keep singing. Seriously. London Old School says.
What did London Old School say?
Oh, I think I said it already. He's the best game of the season so far, followed by Man United victory. So we will do a show. We will do a show in the summer about our top 5 games of the season. So if anyone wants to do their homework out there and be ready for that show, we'll do it when all the dust is settled. Hopefully, it's at the end of May when we've won at Baku in Azerbaijan, I believe it is, in the Europa League. Do we want Chelsea in the Europa League, or do we want to avoid Chelsea? I want to avoid Chelsea. No.
And I was going to mention to you guys, do you know what was the funny thing about Torreira? The fact that he was totally unknown, not relatively unknown, totally unknown. I mean, I was going off on a rant saying, why are we signing an unknown player? Like, from Sampdoria. Like,
This,
I know Italian teams, but
yeah.
what are we doing? And look how my words have backfired on me.
No, he said, please don't sing again. Just kidding. No. Completely justified. Hey, Noe, if we win a trophy or if we get top four, we'll sing. How about that? Noe does want Chelsea in the final. But Torreira, had we signed Torreira when, did we know Torreira was an Arsenal player when he was playing in the World Cup against Ronaldo? I think we knew, right?
I think you could like we could see the quality that this kid has, and I was like, my goodness, if this is what we're getting, then I have no idea what's going to be happening within the next few months of Emery. Because Emery is going to find this guy a partner to play in the middle. That's why I've been surprised he hasn't started Ramsey and Torreira in the middle more often.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a partnership with Xhaka that worked very well in the beginning part of the season. No, he said deal Ray on the singing. That'll be great because we'll have had top four or a trophy as well to show for it. No, he said he was an Arsenal player in the World Cup. Yeah, I think I remember talking to people about that, saying, "Did you see Arsenal's new signing and how he dealt with Ronaldo in the World Cup?" People were saying that to me. You know.
Wow.
Hey, let's push on to one of the really big surprises of the season. He's a young player. He's 19. 19. He came from League Two in the French league. His name is Matteo Guendouzi. Bye.
Yeah, Raymond, I'd love to hear your thoughts first, and from Noe and London Old School, all our other viewers, about Matteo Guendouzi.
Matteo Guendouzi, he's in probably 9 months, he's probably tripled or quadrupled his value. We got him for 7 or 8 million. He's easily a 25 to 30 million player now. Would you agree with that? I just love.
Possibly even 40. I heard there were offers coming from, I'm not sure which was, it was another club such as PSG for 60. So.
Yeah, so at the end of this show, we can get rid of Lichtsteiner and keep all of the other signings, and we can tot up the valuation that they've increased over this season from what we bought them from last season. Where I think Matteo Guendouzi is a hell of a baller. He's 19. He's young, so he's come into a setup, and you can see in the training that he really gets along with Lacazette and Aubameyang. So, if you think if there's a twosome, it's Lacazette and Aubameyang. They're bros, but there's also that third person that's not far away, and that is Matteo Guendouzi. And what I always love watching the training ground routines is Emery like encouraging him, saying, "Matteo, well done, Matteo." He encourages every player, but the Matteo it just rings out, right? When you say Matteo Guendouzi, well done. I think he's got lots of energy, and I think he needs to do certain things in his game, like not hold on to the ball so much. But he's going to learn, and he has a love for that scarf right there. He has a love for the badge. He's a hell of a player.
Oh yes,
he's
a hell of a player.
For Emery to throw him in the first league game, which was Manchester City at home, that just speaks volumes about how much Emery believes in him. Hey, welcome in a fourth person. Say hello. Just drop something in the comments. Stay with us. We're talking about Matteo Guendouzi right now, a player who came in and now he loves the club after 9 or 10 months of being with the Arsenal. So let me know what you think, new viewer. We appreciate everybody coming in. Say hello to the group. We're a small, tight-knit group. We're growing. Gundit News, what do you think about Matteo Guendouzi?
He's a young bowler. definitely going to take Arsenal places when we start building around our younger players. And I mean, all our loan signings coming back. I would love. I can't wait to see a second squad. Like a backup squad, but filled with the likes of like Guendouzi, Torreira. Although those are our main. They basically Torreira is the main starter. He's in our starting 11. He's one of our main team players. Most vital. Not most vital, one of the most important parts of our team, the main squad. And I can't wait to see how Guendouzi, what type of bowler Guendouzi is going to turn out to be, whether they're going to find another young guy to partner him with, they're going to train him and Torreira to be the main midfield partnership, maybe bringing another midfielder, box-to-box midfielder. I can't wait to see what's going to be happening. I would rate Guendouzi a solid 7 out of 10.
Solid 7. He's got some deficiencies in his game. Part of two of them are, the first one is he holds onto the ball a little bit much. We saw what happened versus Bournemouth, where he held onto the ball at the edge of the box. The second part of his game, which is he needs to address, is he gets a little bit hot-headed. He gets involved in things too much, and he needs to be careful about his discipline that way. Diving into the comments here, Noe said Guendouzi will be world class in a few years. London Old School said Guendouzi was a great signing. He will grow into a world class midfielder. And Noe said player, and then London said Guendouzi understands the club and fans, which is a great point. And then he goes on to say we still need a physically strong defensive midfielder. And maybe Guendouzi, he seems like he's very slight and not strong, but maybe he can grow into that kind of player as he matures. He is still just a teenager, right, Gundit?
To all of our viewers, the odd efficiencies like in keeping the ball too long, being a little bit hot-headed in certain situations where you actually just need to keep calm and carry on. Just carry on your normal game. There's no need to be rash and put in rash tackles, possibly get booked with a yellow or a red or sent off because you've said something, because you've lost your temper. But it's definitely one for the future. I would even say you could shout out and say if we get another midfielder like the likes of a Rabiot, who's also very young still, and you could possibly partner him up with Torreira and Guendouzi and put the three of them there in the midfield and have them all learn off each other, especially Guendouzi learning from Rabiot, who's playing at PSG and would hopefully come to us if we can manage to get top Champions League football.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I know you're really a fan of Rabiot as well. So I hope he doesn't go to Tottenham because they've been talking about him as well. But I would like to see Rabiot. Maybe Emery's link to PSG will help us in getting Rabiot, but maybe he's going to go to Spain or something like that as well.
Look, if he does go anywhere, let him go to a top football club, like the likes of the one West Ham. But I personally think he would fit in at Arsenal. He would fit like a glove. He would fit like to the T.
Yeah.
Playing in that midfield.
He would definitely. Rabiot is somebody I like, and he would definitely be a good addition to our team. In midfield, do you think we have enough players in midfield going forward next season? Especially the Xhaka, Torreira, Guendouzi, Ramsey kind of. Do we have enough players there in terms, and maybe some loan players will come back as well?
Some loan players, playing the likes of AJ Mason now, also in his natural position, which is actually in the midfield, believe it or not. Not at right back or left back, but we've had to do that because of defensive defensive issues.
I know
But
London
anyway,
Old School is a big fan of Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well.
oh, that's cool. I'm like, look, I'm all in well for promoting youngsters and integrating them with the experienced players. So you have a sort of balance. And like we were discussing Socrates, and then we were saying in a previous podcast, if you haven't, if our subscribers haven't watched, basically putting the likes of Socrates with like a Manolis, a younger version, a younger polar opposite, almost to balance it out. Or you could also go with the likes of like Rob Holding and experience.
Yeah. So what you're saying as well in terms of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, his position is midfield. So we really need to address a backup right back situation and not have it be Lichtsteiner or that kind of player. London Old
But
School.
you know, there are quite a few available options at the moment. If you just look, if you just keep your eyes open, there are options at right back and centre back.
Right. Yeah. I think if we address a right back situation in terms of a second choice right back to fill in for Bellerin, maybe a younger player who can learn, because Bellerin's got to be 25 or 26 now, you know. Ainsley Maitland-Niles can compete for a spot in midfield, and I think Xhaka is not going to go anywhere. Although let's talk about Xhaka and his comments from last week as well. Xhaka's comments were that why Arsenal does not need to be his last stop, and I think it's been taken out of context a little bit when you go on international duty. We did touch on it a little bit last week as well, but just to put a full stop underneath and cross it off. Xhaka, if he wishes to go, he can go. If he feels that he can get a better position somewhere else with another team. But I do know Emery likes him a lot. What do you think, Gundit?
I think he's improved. I think he's improved so much under Emery.
He has improved.
I would have sold him. I would have sold him if I was chief scout or sporting director, and it was up to me with all my decisions, who's leaving and who's not leaving. I would have sold Xhaka quite a long time ago, and but he's improved so much. I would see him now as I could see him in our squad. Like we just need to add a few more midfielders. I would say sell the likes of like Al Nini, who's just basically he hasn't done anything wrong, but to sell Al Nini to free up funds because
Al Nini's going to go. I'd like to keep Welbeck as well. I think Welbeck. Bless you. London Old School has said Xhaka is Emery's favorite. We can't see him going. I agree with you, London Old School. Emery sees Xhaka as his midfield general, and I don't think that's changing. Does anyone think that the 5 captains will change next season?
Have one solid captain.
Yeah.
Socrates. There's only one option for that right there.
I agree. I agree with you. I think with Emery coming in the way he did, he wasn't going to be put on a spot about who he was going to pick as captain. So he said, I've got key players in the dressing room already. I've got I think he just pulled a number really out of his head. I've got 5 captains, and he just started naming off the 5 captains. Seriously, I think he just did that off the top of his head. I think he just said, "Listen, these are the characters I've got in the dressing room right now. They are captains in of themselves." And I think that speaks a little bit to his pragmatic approach as well. He doesn't worry about too much about these things. A captain's role really has become less and less over the years. We're never going to have a Tony Adams again, kind of thing. But Socrates, Nandinosko says he hopes Socrates gets the armband. Agree with you, Nandinosko.
I really hope he does do that. Like, make Socrates captain because Socrates is a leader. Most importantly, he's showing them that they've got it within them to eventually be challenging for the league. Whether that be in 3 years' time, 2 years' time, I'm not expecting immediate results like next year to be challenging for a league, but you never know what could happen. You honestly never know what could happen.
I think if we do well this season, I'd love to get a trophy this season, get the Europa League, because I do believe next season will be difficult uh, with Champions League football. If we do get it, uh, it will be difficult. We could be in the same position as a Liverpool or a Tottenham, that we're competing quite well in the top four, but we're never going to get near the league title even next year. I think we're on a 4 year plan, maybe a 3 year plan if we're lucky. Well, let's talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah. What I was trying to say to you is, we just pray that we actually pray that he gets back. You know, this summer and this transfer window. Let him get back, man. Give you guys some money.
Yeah. That's well, we're going to move some players out. That's going to free some money up, and that'll be a whole other show in the summertime right now. But let's review all of the players that we signed last year. And Bernd Leno, Socrates, Lichtsteiner, Guendouzi, and Torreira. And of all of those, they've all done quite well, and we could actually tot up in our heads how much we might have earned from them in terms of transfers right now. A lot of them have tripled. Some of them have tripled their value. Some of them have doubled their value. But Lichtsteiner is going to be shown the door. Bernd Leno,
Yes.
Bernd Leno is probably worth another 15 million on top of the 26 that he already got. He's probably a 40 to 50 million goalkeeper right now. Socrates again. Socrates is an older defender. He may not have gathered much more of a transfer fee, not that much. But look at Torreira. We bought him for 26 or something like that, right? 22, 24, 26. Now he's worth about 50. So that's Bernd Leno and Torreira have doubled their value pretty much. And Guendouzi starting out at 7 million. He's worth probably between 25 and 30, right? I would say right now. So that's pretty good business. And let's have faith. Let's have faith that the club can do something similar and maybe address backup right back, a backup goalkeeper, which I think we talked about it at the start of the show, and that's it. A centre back, a backup right back, and a backup goalkeeper, maybe a winger of some sort, and that could be our business.
Of some sort, and then lastly, third choice striker. Not a third choice striker, but
well, maybe a winger who can do that job. That would be four players coming in, which would not be bad. London Old School says Leno is growing into a world class keeper. I think we're seeing Leno, as we talked about at the start of the show. Leno is growing because of the defenders that he has in front of him. We have yet to concede a set piece goal because of Koscielny and Socrates' play. That's astonishing. We have not conceded through a corner or a free kick. That's what my understanding is anyway. Hey, if you're new to the channel, come on in and say hello. We have a third person. And now finally, for the last segment of this show, London Old School, we are going to preview the Newcastle game. And what's your feeling about the Newcastle game, Mahir? Monday night.
Okay, I am confident. I'm confident we will get a 3-0, if not 4-0. Sorry, like I was saying, I'm confident we will get a 3-0 or a 4-0 result from Newcastle. I'm not saying this is definite, guys, because we do know what happens in football. We are expect the unexpected. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if we are going to keep a clean sheet tomorrow, but I'm confident that we will beat Newcastle and jump into third above all the other Banter FC clubs, such as and etc. etc.
Such as the Bottlers from Shithart Lane. Yep.
And
Shellshide and Banter Manure Banter FC. Let's just make it a longer title. Manure Banter FC. So the team has been out of action for 3 weeks. I think it will be a little. We won't be very fluid, but I think we'll get the win. I think it'll be a tough game. Newcastle will come and park the bus. They have got some very, very dangerous players. Say hello if you're new to the channel. Also, we'd love to hear any questions that you have from the new people. Thanks, Noe. Noe's Wi-Fi went Spursy. Well, you don't want your Wi-Fi to bottle up on you, Noe. So please get that fixed. We need your Wi-Fi fixed. No Spursy Wi-Fi. That was bottled it right at the end of the show. So I'm glad we have 4 people in. If you're new to the channel, say hello. We do appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button down there right now. So I think we will struggle on Monday. We won't be as fluent. I feel like it might be one of our defenders, like Koscielny, who will come back. Rafa Benitez, believe it or not, if you saw my video the last time, they have actually been playing quite well at home. They've won their last 3 games at home. And away from home, they've drawn 2 and lost just 1 in their last 3 games. So it will not be easy to beat Newcastle. I think we will get a headed goal from Koscielny. And I think Lacazette should start. And this is probably not a game for Aubameyang till halfway through the second half, where the game will open up a bit. But I think we will get a 2-0 win. We'll get a clean sheet because we have not gotten a lot of clean sheets. And I think we have to balance out that part of our game as well and get some clean sheets with Bernd Leno playing well and with Koscielny playing well. They've got some dangerous players. Gundit, you want to talk about Almiron?
Okay, we were linked to Atalanta forward Miguel Almiron, and they did sign him for a record fee. Newcastle's record fee, which I think was about 30 million, if I'm not mistaken. I have watched a little bit of Almiron. He hasn't scored a goal yet for Newcastle, but he's quite pacey. He's quite a good dribbler. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say probably about 7. This is not overall quality. I'm talking about his dribbling quality. With an eye at goal, so he has scored quite a few beautiful goals, and he should be one of the biggest threats for that we need to watch. Also, the likes of Solomon Rondon, maybe Ayoze Perez as well. Ray, I would love to hear from you and let our viewers know if there's anybody else that I'm missing out on.
No, Rondon and Ayoze, right? And Almiron. They're very dangerous players. I was watching the Bournemouth game that it was their last away game, and they were losing 2-1 up until the 93rd minute. They came back and got an equalizer. So Rafa Benitez has a team that has some character. They're not giving up at this point in the season. They're like on 35 or 36 points, and they could quite easily play out the rest of the season without really caring too much. But they're gonna make it difficult for us. So we need to be playing at our best. But I do believe we will win the game, and I think we should play 4-2-3-1. Ozil will play in this game because I feel he will not play many of the away games. I don't know how everyone else feels about that, but I would play Bern Leno with Socrates, Koscielny, Ainsley Maitland-Niles for right now, right back, and Monreal at left. Then I would play Ramsey and Xhaka because I think Torreira is still suspended, right? It will be Mkhitaryan, and I'd play Lacazette up front. So because this is a game where you're going to have to hold on to the ball, and they're quite good defensively, Newcastle. I think they're going to be a stubborn team to break down. So we will need Ozil in there.
Or would they change one or two positions? But I mean, I would go with exactly the same lineup as you, right?
No, he has.
And
No, he has.
possibly bring on.
Yeah.
What did he say?
No, he said Miguel Alderaan. I think Almiron is a quality player.
I would have loved him. He probably would have been that striker that we have who can come on at any time that Lacazette or Obo is it. I think a good game. Excuse me. And what do you guys think? Maybe we can maybe bring on Obo later on in the game, and Dennis Suarez as well. Like I want to see more of Dennis Suarez. Like I want to know if whether we should keep him. Is it going to be worth it to keep him? Because I mean, it's only about 20 million.
Yeah, I feel like even though I mentioned Mkhitaryan, I would not be surprised if Suarez started this game. Playing at home, where we should have quite a bit of the ball, and we should just be able to or need to break them down. You know, so London Ozil said they will park the bus. We need Ozil playing well to unpick their defense. And this plays to what we are talking about with Emery at the start of the show. I think that he and Ozil have come to some kind of an agreement, I think, in terms of their attitude towards each other. So he's going to use Ozil in these situations, especially playing at home for these 3 games. We've got 3 games at home. We're going to use one of those games up tomorrow Monday, and then we will have just 2 more home games plus 5 away games. I don't think we have anything to fear about those 5 away games. We've seen Wolverhampton Wanderers take their eye off the ball as well. What do you think about going? Okay, so Newcastle game previewed. What do you think about going forward for the rest of April? We have a lot of fixtures.
We have discussed it before. We said basically we're going to end up with about 20 out of 25 points for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Which basically means we have to win. All our home games are definite must wins. That's 9 points, which is 3 remaining games at home. And then away, we're going to have a few tricky games. We don't know exactly what kind of team, like Wolves. We don't know what Wolves is going to show up. Is it going to be the Wolves of today versus Burnley, or is it going to be the Wolves that beat United, basically?
Yeah. I think that they have a smell of Wembley right now and the FA Cup. So I think their league form is going to suffer while they concentrate on that FA Cup. And I'm not sure when do we play them in relation to their FA Cup semi-final? We play them later. Yeah.
It's not before. It's very, very close to when they do play in the FA Cup. But what I'm thinking is maybe even like Everton. Everton beat West Ham yesterday very convincingly, and like it was nice to see quality coming from. Yes, we're an Arsenal channel, but we do talk football in general.
Yeah.
So, but it was lovely to see Everton pull up with a little bit of quality. Basically, the likes of Lucas Digne, Bernard. We were linked to Bernard not too long ago. Who else am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Andre Gomez. Um, we hated Gilfrey Sigurdsson, but if I'm honest with you right now, I love seeing lower teams that are much lower trying to compete for European place in the Europa League and just producing beautiful football. I mean, who doesn't love that?
No. I think Watford and Wolves, we can take them in tandem because they're both away games and they're both in the FA Cup still. So they could be easier games. I'm actually seeing that Leicester City game as one of the tougher ones now. You know, and we're going to 90 minutes here, so we got another 3 minutes to fill. We won't do it by singing. We will just finish out by talking about our remaining away games. At Burnley, at Burnley game is going to be a tricky one, but London Old School has a point. Napoli will be taxing for us. Hope it does not affect our league performance. That's very true.
I actually believe we could possibly just end up in third and win the Europa. It would be lovely to see that too, which means a brilliant first season for Emery. And I think, as being underrated as he is, I would absolutely love it if this new coach who I adore, who we adore, gets Europa League final, the Europa League trophy in his first season. And
can you imagine getting top four and going deep in the Europa League? Can you imagine that? That would be a really, really good first season under Emery.
I mean, you could have played
of the year. I think you said coach of the year, maybe. Either side of that yawn.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, I think. Yeah. No, I think we have outperformed our expectations. You know, I hoped that we would be top four material at this time of the season. I hope that Mourinho would have third season syndrome. I hope that Manchester United would mess themselves up. I hope that Chelsea would not be as good. And I hope that Tottenham would have a wobble. And look what's happening. You know, it's all coming to plan, according to plan, you know?
Exactly, it's all coming to plan. Because I also thought exactly like that. Spurs are probably going to bottle it. Chelsea are shit. So Chelsea will remain a banter club. And United, I hate United. We hate United. So
United, we hate. We really hate Tottenham, but we really hate United. Hey, if you're new here, drop a question in the comments. Come and see us every Sunday. We do a show every Sunday. If you're new to the channel, say hello. Or if you're just enjoying the content, just enjoy the content. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. But listen, I want to thank everybody for taking 90 minutes out of their life to come and have some fun with us. My co-host, Mahir Abrams of Gundit News. Check him out on Facebook. He's always putting stuff out on Facebook. And we are here every Sunday without fail. And I want to thank Noe Donis for coming on, providing the banter and the funny comments that we laugh at, and we love on the London Old School. London Old School, we love your comments on all things Arsenal as well, and I want to thank both of you for coming on, along with Mahir and myself for the last 90 minutes. So it's been a lot of fun. Also, London Old School and Noe, if you do have any ideas or any topics that you want us to talk about, drop them in the comments of any of the videos, really, and we can discuss them. Gundit News and I, we come to this. We formulate what we want to do probably by a Thursday, Friday, or even as late as a Saturday sometimes. in terms of what kind of show we want to put together for you and for all the viewers looking at this on playback. Um, Drop a comment down there. Let us know what kind of if you'd want us to do a show on something in particular. Uh, we've only got a few more months of the season, right, Mahir? And we'll be
Yeah,
in.
only a few more months, but we would love any coming from any of our subscribers. If you love the club like we love the club,
Bye.
any topics of discussion, we would love to hear from you guys so we can produce more new content.
More new content, and there's no topic that cannot be formed into a show as well, even though it would be a small topic here and there. Um, but yeah, thanks for your support. I think we're going to sign off there. We're going into injury time, 92 minutes. We must have had some substitutions during this show. I know there was one or two people looking in at us, so that's cool as well. If you're watching this on playback, uh, catch us every Sunday and be a regular on the show. Um, Drop some comments. If you ever have any questions, London Old School or Noe, drop them in the comments. We will address them during shows as well. But for now, without waffling on too much, I'm going to let Mahir Abrams have the last word. He is no doubt happy that Liverpool won today, making the likelihood of him getting ice cold in May less and less. Take it away, Gundit.
Okay, I just want to shout out to all of you, all our subscribers and watch our show, tuning week in, week out, catching up with us and being part of the Arsenal fan circle family. You know, always pull out the chair on a Sunday and come and join us. And come and join me also. I release content, Gundit News on Facebook. So yeah, there's like pre-match and post-match analysis, also player ratings. And we love to hear from you guys. And, we love the support and really do appreciate you tuning in, whether it's live or whether it's not live, and you guys are catching up with all the topics that we talk about, which is everything related to our
and what's the last thing we're going to say? Football is back again. Back again. Football is back again. Holla. Good night to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next Sunday and during the week as well in your comment section. Thanks for your support. We are out of here. Peace out.